الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين وصلى الله وسلم على سيدنا محمد خاتم النبيين وآله وأصحابه أجمعين. أما بعد يا معشر المسلمين. As we want to take benefit, inshallah ta'ala, some reminders and some reflections and some advice from Sheikh Dr. Sulaiman ibn Sulaiman al-Ruhaini, حفظه الله تعالى. So he mentions of the impact of the Quran in mending the heart. So we want to focus on the heart this Ramadan that is approaching us. Focus on cleansing the heart, purifying the heart by reflecting on the Quran, by pondering and reflecting on the Quran. So mending the heart, or mending the appearance, as it is mentioned, the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam, he pointed with his noble fingers at his chest. So mending the appearance is based on the righteousness of the heart. If the hearts are sound and healthy, the appearance becomes sound and healthy. As the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam, he mentions, he says, لا يستقيم إيمان عبد حتى يستقيم قلبه. Mending the heart, or mending the faith of the servant will not happen until his heart becomes upright. So the mending of the heart is the most important thing to be considered. It is not flashy jewelry and clothes and cars, but rather it is the purity of the heart. It is the soundness and the cleansing of the heart. It is not the materialistic things that makes the person happy, or that makes a person rejoice, but rather it is the heart that makes the person rejoice, and he is happy and he is content. So the noble Quran is the best way of reforming mankind. It is the speech of Allah Azza wa Jalla sent down to the Prophet alayhi salatu wassalam, Muhammad ibn Abdullah alayhi salatu wassalam. As Allah Jalla wa Ala described the noble Quran with many characteristics, referring to its greatness, its graciousness, and influence. As Allah He mentions in Surah Yusuf, verily we have sent it down as an Arabic Quran. Inna anzalnahu Qur'anan Arabiyan la'allakum ta'qilun. Verily we have sent it down as an Arabic Quran so that you may understand. وقال سبحانه وتعالى كتاب أنزلناه إليك مباركا ليذكروا آياته وليذكروا أولو الألباب. This is a book, the Quran, which we have sent down to you, full of blessings, that they may ponder over its verses, and that men of understanding may remember. وقال سبحانه وتعالى وهذا كتاب أنزلناه مبارك فيتبعوا واتقوا لعلكم ترحمون. And Allah He mentions, and this is a blessed book, the Quran, which we have sent down, so follow it and fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that you may receive mercy and be saved from the torment of hell. So Allah Jalla wa Ala, He told us, He has told us that the Quran is blessed in order us to follow it. And He clarified that His book, it guides to the straight path. As Allah He mentions, إِنَّ هَذَا الْقُرْآنَ يَهْدِي لِلَّتِي هِيَ أَقْوَمُ. Verily this Quran, it guides to that which is most just and right. So look thoroughly at the phrase, so that which is the most just and most right, as the Shaykh he mentions, meaning the straight path, which is denoted by Allah saying, كِتَابٌ أُحْكِمَتْ آيَاتُهُ. That this Quran, that this book, this is a book, the verses of which are perfected. This book is full of admonitions and remembrances, which Allah Jalla wa Ala has mentioned in His book, which have a good effect on the heart. So if we read it and we contemplate upon it, we will come across ayat of remembrances. And we will come across ayats of admonition. We will come across ayats that give you admonition and that it reminds you. وقال جل وعلا لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن على جبل لرأيته خاشعا متصدعا من خشية الله وتلك أمثال نضربها للناس لعلهم يتفكرون. And how we sent this Quran on a mountain, you would surely have seen it humbling itself and bring asunder by the fear of Allah Jalla wa'ala. Such are the parables which we put forward to mankind so that they may reflect. So Allah Jalla wa'ala, He sets parables, examples in the Quran so that mankind can reflect, so that mankind can ponder and see that which Allah Jalla wa'ala has put in His book of reflection and remembrances. And He instructed and ordered the servants to obey His commandments and to stay away from that which He has prohibited. Allah Jalla wa'ala, Allah's speech, He clarifies everything, and it is considered a healing for that which is in one's chest. That this Quran is considered a healing for that which is in the chest of mankind. So if you are stressing, the Quran is a healing for that. The Quran has a cure for that. If you are, have a hard heart, the Quran has a cure. It is, shifa. It has a cure for that, for the hardness of the heart. If you have ailments and any kind of affliction or diseases, the Quran has a cure for that. وَقَالَ سُبْحَانَهُ وَنَزَّلْنَا وَمَاذَا ونزلنا عليك الكتاب تبيانا لكل شيء وهدى ورحمة بشرى للمسلمين. وقال سبحانه وتعالى, and we have sent down to you the book, the Quran, as an exposition of everything, guidance, mercy, and the glad tidings for those who have submitted themselves to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as Muslims. Huda wa bushra wa rahmah. It is mother. It is a guidance, and it is a mercy. وَبُشْرَى لِلْمُسْلِمِينَ, and the glad tidings for those who have submitted themselves to Allah as Muslims. So look no further than the Quran. Look in the Quran. Read the Quran, ya ayyuhan nas. So this month of Ramadan, it is a month of reflection. It is a month of reading and contemplating. It is a month of recitation. It is a month that we engage with the Quran. So this book, it leads mankind out of darkness of disbelief into the light of belief. وقال سبحانه وتعالى ألف لام را كتاب أنزلناه إليك لتخرج للناس من الظلمات إلى النور بإذن ربهم إلى صراط العزيز الحميد. This is a book which we have revealed to you, O Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam, in order that you might lead mankind out of darkness of disbelief and polytheism into the light of belief and the oneness of Allah and Islamic monotheism by their Lord's leave to the path of the Almighty Jalla wa'ala, the owner of all praise. So this book, it guides the individual out from darkness. It guides the individual out from the way of disbelief and polytheism. It guides the individual, the crookedest individual, the hard-hearted individual. It guides him away from that filthy state that he was in into the state of Islam, submission, obedience. It guides the individual to worshiping Allah Jalla wa'ala. So the Quran, it contains a healing for the hearts and bodies and mending goodness and happiness. Without the Quran, the hearts cannot be reformed. The hearts cannot be reformed without the Quran. As individuals go to all of these sessions, they go to these physicians and these different individuals who tell them to meditate, to do this and to do that. They give them these remedies, but it doesn't do the individual any good. It doesn't do the person any justice. But when the person, he reads the Quran, it has an effect on his heart. And we sent down of the Quran. وَنُزِّلُ مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ ما هو شفاء ورحمة للمؤمنين. And we sent down of the Quran that which is a healing and a mercy to those who believe in Islamic monotheism and act on it. Naam ya ibadallah. So this Quran, it guides to that which is the most just. It guides the individual to be upright. It guides the person to have good character. It guides the person to stay away from that which is harmful for him or her. It guides the individual. نعم يا أيها الإخوة. وقال سبحانه وتعالى يا أيها الناس قد جاءتكم موعظة من ربكم وشفاء لما في الصدور وهدى ورحمة للمؤمنين. O mankind, there has come to you a advice from your Lord, the Quran, enjoining all that is good and forbidding all that is evil, and in healing for the diseases of ignorance and doubt and hypocrisy and differences in which is in your breath. It guides the individual away from this despicable, evil characteristic of ignorance and having shak, or having doubt, and it guides the individual away from hypocrisy and all of these different elements of that which is in the breast, and the guidance and the mercy, and it explains that which is lawful and unlawful for the believers. Naam ya ibadallah. So the Shaykh, حفظه الله تعالى, he mentions, so the noble Quran, it is a healing for every disease for the heart, and for every bad thing. It cleanses and purifies the heart. وَلَكِنْ يَا أَيُّهَا النَّاسِ, there is a critical condition for the noble Quran to leave its impact on mending the heart. There must be a ready heart. As Allah, He mentions, إن في ذلك لذكرى لمن كان له قلب أو ألقى سمعه وهو شهيد. And verily there is indeed a reminder for him who has a heart, or he gives air while he is heedful. So this stipulation, it must exist for the Quran to have an impact on man's heart, as the Shaykh mentions. So the stimulation, in order for the person to benefit, in order for the person to actualize this, the Quran must have an impact on his heart. So it is mentioned, so he mentions, the heart must be present at all times, and one must be heedful. As Imam al-Bukhari, rahimahullah ta'ala, he mentions, no one can taste the sweetness. لا يجد طعامه إلا من آمنت به إلا من آمن به. نعم. لا يجد طعامه إلا من آمن به. No one can taste the sweetness of the Quran but the one who believes in it. The one who believes in it. The Quran has a great taste. No one can fail but who believes in it and gives air while he is heedful. As Ibn Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala, he mentions in the Fawaid, he mentions in his book al-Fawaid, إذا أردت, if you want to benefit from the Quran, إذا أردت انتفاع بالقرآن, if you want the benefit from the Quran, فأجمع قلبك عند تلاوته. He says, if you want to benefit from the Quran, bring your whole heart during the recitation. وسمعه, and hearing it. Bring your whole heart, bring your whole self during reciting the Quran. وسمعه, and also your hearing. وألقي سمعك. And he mentions, and listen to it, attentive as if Allah speaks directly to you. It is a speech delivered by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through his messenger, alayhi salatu wassalam. Naam ya ibadallah. So the Shaykh, he mentions, Allahu Akbar. He says, do we feel this? Do we feel that Allah speaks to us through this noble Quran? what a great effect it is if we believe firmly in it. Ibn Qutadah, or Mada, Ibn Qutaybah, he mentions, حفظه الله تعالى. He says, the impact of the Quran, which is benefiting and remembering, is achievable. It should be followed. It should be the following factors met, or to meet the following factors. That's the influencing factor. The Quran, the ready recipient, the living heart, the recognition or the attentiveness in listening to the Quran, right? And the absence of any obstacle, to leave all those worldly things out of it, to leave all of those negative things out of it. That you are the individual who is intensive in listening to the Quran in the absence of any obstacle, yani the heart being occupied and distracted from the meaning of the Quran. Ila ghayri dhalik. It is being distracted from the meaning of the Quran to another thing. You're being distracted by something else. So in order for the person to benefit, he must bring his whole heart into it. He must bring his whole heart into it, listening to it, being attentive as if Allah is speaking directly to you. So the Shaykh, he mentions, many people say we hear the Quran, but it does not cause us any reverence or remembrance. This statement indicates that they are undutiful to Allah. The noble Quran has a great impact on the heart if all the factors mentioned above are met. Many people recite the Quran while they are absent-minded. The tongue may utter the words of the Quran, but the heart is absent. So how is it possible for such hearts to receive the effect of the Quran, ya ayyuhan nas? So the Shaykh, he mentions, hafidahullah, we should mend our hearts during the recitation of the Quran, through making our hearts ready for accepting the words of Allah Jalla wa Ala, our ears attentive, our hearts alive, and try hard to forget about distractions the shaitan is so eager to engulf us with. Forget about all of those distractions. Forget about all of those distractions that the shaitan distracts you with. Usually, when the Muslim wants to recite the Quran, shaitan comes and whispering. He comes to whisper to him, remember so and so and so and so, right? Remember so and so. Do such and such. Remember so and so. Thinking so and so. So the ummah suffers from so and so. The people need so and so. The people need in so and so. Wahakadha. He wants to keep him away from hearing the words of Allah and reflecting upon it. So the shaitan, he knows well that if the Muslim listened to the words of Allah, it would make deviating him very difficult. It would make deviating the individual very difficult. And the chances of driving him to disobey Allah would be close to impossible. Allahu Akbar. So the Shaykh, he says, hearts can be mended by two ways. Purification through ridding of bad traits and habits, and purification through acquiring new good ones, new good traits, and new good habits. So this is what we must be upon, of reflection and contemplation and listening attentively